Relocation Impact Report, RIR number 05-20, Imperial Avalon LLC, 4132 Coachella Avenue, Suite 205B, Los Alamitos, California, 90720. Imperial Property Owners, Imperial Avalon LLC, 4132 Coachella Avenue, Suite 205B, Los Alamitos, California. Consider Relocation Impact Report, RIR number 05-20, Imperial Avalon LLC. Property involved is 21207 South Avalon Boulevard in Carson.
The request was filed by Imperial Avalon LLC. So tonight, the commission is not considering whether the park owner can or cannot close the park. However, the commission is considering what steps the park owner must take to mitigate the adverse impacts of the park closure on its residents in terms of assisting them and relocating to adequate housing elsewhere. And the park will not close earlier than January 2022.
I'm Tim Tatro, and my partner Julie Lopez and I represent the Imperial Avalon Homeowners Association. The HOA asked us to review the impact report and provide feedback to the commission. I think that with this impact report, what we're really supposed to do is ask ourselves, what are all the bad things that can happen when this park closes? And then try to take steps to come up with solutions ahead of time. So I've distilled my comments down to 5 recommendations that I think should be folded into the conditions of approval. Number 1, maximize the relocation assistance by incorporating into the impact report the adjusted on-site values calculated by James Brabant. My second recommendation is to allow for selective reappraisals, not park-wide, not redoing the whole thing. We know that there's a good baseline between Netzer and Brabant's numbers put together, but there should be a mechanism for any homeowner who feels that their appraisal is inaccurate or incomplete or has errors. Number 3, allow residents access to their full relocation benefits at least 60 days in advance of leaving the park. Number 4, require a universal method for residents to be able to request early termination of their tenancy and get their full benefits.
You have
last suggestion
2 minutes for your public comment, Ms. Gray.
Okay, I would like to say that what they're going to offer people is shiny little packages that is going to, let them buy in the beginning, but they have to look at the long term. The long term is this money that they're offering people is not going to last even 5 years from now. And the reality is the majority of the people in this park makes under $1,300 a month for incomes because they're on fixed income. Me, myself, and I will be living under the bridge because I was only appraised at $27,000 and I have a very fixed income. So there's nowhere that I will be able to go.
Yes, Junko Kamiyama. My parents were living in Harbor City in a mobile home park. Their friends convinced them to move to Carson about 8 years ago because of the rent control. And they were very, their elderly people are going to be 80 years old. And they were thinking that they're going to be able to live the rest of their lives in Carson because of the fact that they could afford the rent, the space rent. But now that they have to be kicked out and their mobile home was appraised very low, we've tried to go around before the pandemic to see if we could find something comparable for them in the area because they don't speak English. There's nothing around there for them to be able to be relocated to, and there's no way on a fixed social security income that they'd be able to pay the monthly rent for an apartment or anywhere else. So we're just very disappointed in the city of Carson for trying to kick out all of these elderly people. A lot of them will have to be homeless and they will have nowhere to go. It's just very sad thing that, we already have a lot of homeless people in California, and it's going to increase because of this. So I'm hoping that the city of Carson will consider not shutting down this mobile home park, and that you guys will have a heart to be looking out for all these people who have worked so hard to be able to think that they can live the rest of their lives in this mobile home park community. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Diaz?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Question to City Attorney in respect to the first speaker, Tim Tatro. What's your response to those 5 items?
I think I think most of the recommendations are fine, and they're actually going to supplement and strengthen the tenant impact report. Incorporating the values by James Brabant, I agree with that wholeheartedly. In the city of Carson, we have previously worked with Mr. Brabant in other mobile home park litigation cases. I completely agree with the park owner with the residence's attorney that he has a very good reputation in the field. And so I encourage the commission, even though you have discretion, to adopt James Brabant's numbers as requested by the park residence's own attorney. On the selective appraisals for those homeowners who have invested upgrades in their homes and there was errors, I agree with that too. Appraiser Netzer did not have some of the surveys, that's my understanding. I want the record to be clear. Jim Brabant actually requested the surveys when he was doing his peer review, and he has made adjustments based on what he's observed in the surveys. However, to the extent that there is something that has been overlooked for a particular unit, I agree that we should ask Mr. Brabant to go back out there and look at those issues very closely. So I'm okay with that condition as well.
Thank you for those remarks. I also believe that those are more than adequate or pertinent to this RIR, and I would then look to you or city attorney to fine line that, tune it in, and put the specifications that are needed there to protect those residents in the future as well. So thank you. I'm complete.
So if I can just recap, so for my purposes, because I have to draft conditions of approval, it's to move your motion, Commissioner Matoma, is to move staff's recommendation. However, Brabant values are adopted instead of appraiser Netzer. You're making it a requirement that for the tenants that have done upgrades, that believe the upgrades have not adequately been taken into consideration by Brabant, Brabant does a physical inspection of those units and makes any adjustments for those units which are necessary. You are adopting Commissioner Valdez's ask that the owner pays $10,000 to reimburse the HOA for their legal expenses. You are adopting the condition that requires the park owner to fund the appointment of a special master to adjudicate title disputes, special circumstances, and as part of that adjudication, to the extent there is disputes about improvements that tenants feel there's been physical improvements that has been ignored, as Brabant is adjusting values based on that. If there's any further disputes related to that, that also gets adjudicated by that special master that looks at that. I want to note on that issue that it may be that the tenant, this might start occurring before the special master is retained. So if you could add that, or the city attorney's office or staff it becomes an arbitrator until the special master is retained, that would be great, because I believe some of these adjustments may take place now instead of later. You're also adding that residents will have access to their relocation benefits at least 60 days prior to departure from the park, and that residents can request early termination and require the park owner to run all early termination agreements by the city attorney or the special master once the special master is appointed. Are those the additional conditions?
Yes.
Let's go for the vote.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Fayasago,
Yes.
Commissioner Matoma,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
I think we lost Commissioner Palmer a while ago.
Commissioner Rahman,
Yes.
Commissioner Rashad,
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Madrigal,
Yes.
Chair Pimentel.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you.
The Government's Sunshine Project is brought to you by Charles Thomas for Carson City Council 2020. I'm Charles Thomas, and I approve of this message.